And now, the time fight fans all across the globe have been waiting for. It's the main card with your man, The Voice. As always, in the opposite corner, my mano Imano, my verbal sparring partner, Philly's finest, who came in just ready to go, just like all the smoke. He was smoking before he got here. We're going to pray for him on that. We'll just roughing.
I'm here, and I've been listening to Kendrick Lamar's Like That verse all day, and then I came in and Voice tried to accost me, and I was with it. It's smoke o'clock anytime we show up. I'm excited. Voice, how you doing, boss?
Oh, man, you know how I'm doing. It's smoke o'clock. I was getting ready to say
Definitely.
the day, but the day don't matter. It's smoke o'clock. So when it's smoke o'clock, I'm feeling good.
Well, let me give you an intro. This is the man, the myth, the legend, the man who's matching me today, because apparently we are brothers, even though we got battling hats on. I'm excited for this. It's the main card. We got some great things going on for y'all. We finna talk about Tyson. We finna talk about the king and queen of the ring and Voice's favorite conversation of professional wrestling. UFC 302. We got some things to get into. Voice, let's do it. Let's get into it. KOs and low blows. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Let's go. Now, Usyk versus Fury 2, Voice. It's happening. Mm-hmm. And this time, Tyson Fury said he's planning on leaving no doubt because, as he stated, I believe I won the fight. And I'm not going to sit here and cry and make excuses. I believe he won a few rounds, but I won a majority of them. And what can you do? But make no mistakes, I won that fight, and I'll be back December 21st. We've got that rematch clause ready. Let's go. Voice. I mean, we've seen this. We saw what happened. So many people had already thought that Usyk was going to win the fight before we started out after what had happened to Fury over the past year. How are you feeling about this rematch? Are you looking forward to it?
I am. It's going to be interesting because I want to know what kinds of changes can and will Fury make. Much of the reason that he was not successful was him fading in the end. He came in phenomenal shape. Like, he was cut up and really looked good, but it was his stamina that kept him from really closing the show. And that's where Usyk took over. Usyk also came out really strong in the first couple rounds, and that helped to do it for him, on top of knocking him down. Now, for Usyk, can he secure the knockout this time? Will he be able to deal with and make the proper adjustments, saying that Tyson's going to come in with a different game plan? Those are the things I'm looking forward to on that side of things for the king of Ukraine.
Now, I mean, with that being said, Voice, what does another loss here for Tyson Fury possibly do for the remainder of his career? Because last time he had spoken, he stated he didn't have any plans on retiring anytime soon. Does this change the trajectory of his career with another loss to Usyk in December?
I can't say that it does, because his legacy is pretty much set outside of avenging this loss and having a trilogy with Usyk. He loses to the baddest man that's out there, the man who has beat everyone else that has been before him. Oh, and he's really a cruiserweight on top of that. So, yeah, Tyson has nothing left to prove. A fight with AJ would still be huge. It wouldn't be as big as it would have been before this fight, or before AJ lost his belts, but it would still do gangbusters, and there's still a very hungry part of the boxing population looking for that fight. So he'd still be able to do that. Outside of that, I mean, maybe another fight with Wilder. I don't know what anyone's appetite would be like for that. And really, it's going to depend on how Wilder looks in his next fight, which we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show.
Definitely, it's like a lot of, it seems like a lot of the heavyweight bouts that we can look forward to. Honestly, depends on the outcome of everything that happens for the remainder of the year. Now, Usyk came into that fight and he looked tremendous toward the end of the fight. Like you said, Tyson came in pretty good, but it seemed like Usyk was just determined to finish it right, including what many consider that knockdown that would have happened had Fury not been saved by the referee. Now, moving from one Tyson to another Tyson, which I feel like we've talked about this till we were blue in the face already. Mike Tyson, was a 55-year-old Mike Tyson, had a health scare recently where he actually had a dizzy spell. They stated that it was actually due to ulcers. But with this dizzy spell now, Mike said he's at 100%, but he said he doesn't need to be 100% to face Jake Paul. This fight is planning on going down in July, and it's going to be on Netflix. But it's about that many people voice do not want to see. Many people are concerned with Tyson's health. And with this latest health scare, it seems like this adds to the continuous fear that people have. Voice, how are you feeling with us literally with this fight almost a month away going on and this latest health scare?
It makes the probability of this fight happening that much lower and that much more concerning, because actually the probability is not that low outside of like one of those ulcers rupturing or something and him having internal bleeding, because this fight is going to take place in Texas, and Texas is the Wild West when it comes to fight sports. They let all kinds of stuff happen, including sanctioning this fight, which should not be a sanctioned fight. So Texas will make it happen, but it really, the signs say that it really should not be happening, at least not at the level that it's being allowed to be contested at.
Yeah, it seems like with this latest episode in between the two that many people are literally calling for the fight to end. This has the potential to probably be maybe the biggest fight of the year when you consider the gate and where it's being held and the fact that it's being held on Netflix. Granted, it's between an older Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, who has kind of made a career off of these type of fights moving forward. It'll be interesting to see what happens leading up to it. Definitely make sure that you tune into the main card. We're going to continue to provide coverage on this. Any kind of changes that happen, I know people are messaging me all the time, asking me what's going on with Tyson Paul. We know just as much as you know. All we know is Mike had a dizzy spell recently, and that's what it is.
Yep. One spell that wasn't dizzy, though, was the king and the queen of the ring. You had all kinds of stuff that took place at that event. You had these two gentlemen with a wonderful match and all kinds of good things that happened within that match. And that mountain of a woman, mountain of beauty and grace, Nia Jax. Now, you say her name is Nia. I don't keep up with wrestling that way, so I don't know how they pronounce it.
Nia.
I say Nia. So Nia.
Well, she says Nia also. So
okay, well,
if you're gonna flirt with her, you at least got to say her name right.
No, because see, when we get in each other's presence, she gonna be all right with me calling her Nia. So, but anyway, she won the Queen of the Ring. Gunter won the King of the Ring, and it looks like they're setting up something between him and Sammy. Talk to me about the fallout of that, and what we expect to see.
Well,
yeah,
so
he does need to be 100% Darian. I'm sorry, my bad.
He probably needs to be 150% if we're being honest. I mean, let's be honest here. So with Gunter, I feel like it's casual. She continuously says that. So with Gunter, really what it is he had a King of the Ring final against Randy Orton. So it was Randy Orton, not Sami Zayn. And what happened was the way that the pin worked out, it looked like Randy's shoulders were up. So they had a nice little battle. They went at it. Of course, Gunter came out on top, but this wasn't after Randy had hit a couple RKOs because of his knee actually going out. He couldn't quite get the pin. So the finish was a little unlike Gunter because he basically just rolled him up after being pinned initially. So Triple H actually stated after the controversial loss that yes, Gunther is still the king of the ring, but why not run it back? Because the fans want it, and you know, it was a great bout.
Okay. So Tyler said that the fight was sad, and he was hoping that Randy would win. You know why he didn't
Randy
win?
wasn't
Because
winning.
they hating on St. Louis. That's why. Salute to Randy Orton.
They're not hating.
Salute to Teresa, his hairstylist, who I've known for like 20, 30 years.
The man is the 15-time world champion. They're not hating on him right now. Gunther is the man. Like, you got to accept that. I mean, the King of the Ring event was amazing. Like you talked about Nia Jax being the Queen of the Ring. She dominated her bracket. Her bout with Lyra Valkyrium was great, and she actually finished it with a nod to her cousin Yokozuna with the splash win. Nice. You talked about Cody and Logan. That was an amazing match. There was some fun spots there, and there was a great aerial shot. Like WWE, since they've changed over, they had a great aerial shot of Logan on the top rope before he jumped on Cody on the announcer's table, and it just kind of spun around, which was like amazing overall to see. Logan definitely held his own, but of course Cody pulled that out, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. At the end of the match, Triple H actually set up a match between Damian Priest, the world champion, and she definitely deserved it. Damian Priest set up a match between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. This is actually going to be at Clash of the Castle. This is the next pay-per-view coming up, and it's going to be in Drew's backyard. So we might get to see Drew McIntyre win the championship again, and hopefully he doesn't mess it up like he did last time. Other highlights from the show, Becky Lynch actually lost her title to Liv Morgan.
Yeah, that's right. She sure did.
That Monday,
all over the internet. I've been seeing that out the side of my eye. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That Monday actually, because it was announced that Becky didn't have a new contract yet, and that Monday was her last show. She actually lost the rematch in a steel cage match in the main event on Monday night, but they're saying that they're planning on working out a brand new contract and possibly making Becky Lynch the highest paid woman ever in professional wrestling, which is huge. Of course, your girl Jade Cargill, she was in action. Her and Bianca Belair, they faced off in a tag match for their tag team titles, and they won. So King of the Ring was actually great. It was almost what you would call like a B-level PLE, only because there wasn't that much time in between the last pay-per-view and this one, and it was more or less for the overseas fans, which the overseas fans are always amazing. The next one up is going to be Clash at the Castle, and then there's going to be Money in the Bank. And I believe the next PLE that's going to be in the United States is going to be SummerSlam. That'll be in August, so definitely make sure that you look out. We'll provide you with any kind of information on upcoming PLEs or any major matches that are going to be coming up.
Wow, so Thomas said it definitely was a B-level PLE. Liv Morgan Revenge Tour. Yeah, it is her revenge tour. Go ahead.
It was a B-level PLE, not because it was really, really good, but because of the short period of time. This was more for the fans over in Saudi Arabia. WWE goes over there maybe 2 or 3 times a year. So this was like a quick PLE that actually happened before the last one. So it was definitely great. And the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour is on and popping because what she did Monday night is no better. And if you missed NXT yesterday, Sexy Red appeared on NXT.
Yeah, I was in the house. I saw that.
And then on social media, her and Shawn Michaels sang his theme song. So she'll actually be at the NXT PLE that's going to be taken live from the UFC Apex. That's man, don't get on here and do that, brother. That's going to be taking place live this Sunday coming up, and we'll make sure that we cover that also.
Yeah, one question I did want to have you answer is this question by Darion. Says that the WWE needs to stop making Gunther look undefeated against every wrestler. He's been on a fairly long undefeated streak. Do you feel the same way?
We can't say he's been undefeated because he just lost his Intercontinental Championship to Sami Zayn. I do understand what you're saying about him looking nearly undefeated, and I get it. WWE wants to build up another powerhouse. If you followed Gunther since his WWE NXT UK days, every time he's held a championship, he's held it for like 2 years at a time. Like he held the UK championship, I think, for like 800 and some odd days. So he has these long reigns. He's literally like an old school wrestler, and they love that about him. To me, I felt like him and Jey Uso have put on 2 great matches, and both times Jey had him beat. And whether it was the referee or if it was Jimmy Uso coming in, both times he looked beatable in those. And he's also looked beatable against Chad Gable. But I do agree. It is one of those things. But I think it's going to make it even more exciting when he does take that loss. But I do have a feeling that they're setting him up to become champion at SummerSlam against Cody Rhodes.
All right. Well, as you stated, when it comes to the WWE and specifically the PLEs, we're going to talk about that here on the main card. You can rest assured that we will cover that as well as all of your other combat sports. Yeah, I said it. I'm not coming around, but at least for the show, I'm coming around.
You watching, brother? Just accept it.
No, I'm not.
Come on, man. You out here flirting with Nia Jax on our show. Like you sound like me on 494.
Hey, but that's because that was the case regardless. Like I said, my timeline, it gets some WWE stuff. And when I saw her, I was like, oh.
All right. I'll let you have it.
All right. So we're going to take this quick Ozell break. And when we come back, we'll get into the Matchroom versus Queensberry 5-on-5, UFC 302, and The Voice's marquee matchup. It's the main card. Keep it locked.
It's not just about the love of the game. It's about dedication and commitment through the process and the patience to endure. There's joy in reaching your goals and peace in knowing you've done all you're supposed to do. Ozell brand. It's not just a brand, it's a lifestyle.
Awesome. Shout out to the sponsor, Ozell. Make sure you go out and get your Ozells, whether it be for yourself, for your kids, or for them sporting events, because you know you need new cleats, and them new cleats be expensive. So shout out to the brand.
Yeah, but
now
Ozell's not.
Oh, definitely. And they sturdy too. So make sure you cop them joints. Voice. Not only are bragging rights on the line in Saudi Arabia during the Matchroom versus Queensberry 5-on-5 event. Now, for those who are not familiar, each promotional company will put up 5 fighters for bouts spanning 4 different weight classes, which were selected back in March. However, 2 of these fighters that may determine this 5-on-5 event, it may also determine where their career may end up or have a major boost. Now, this is going to happen when Deontay Wilder meets Zhang in a heavyweight bout for monster fighters literally looking to recover or determine if this is the end. Now, the 38-year-old Wilder has already mentioned that a loss to Big Bang may call it a career for him. Now, ironically, this comes after both fighters have actually suffered losses in their last fights to Joseph Parker months apart in the Kingdom Arena. For Wilder, Voice, I mean, he's 1-3 in his last 4. He has many. He's worried many with his recent comments. And they kind of come off as defeatist to a certain extent. Voice. He said, "I don't think the heavyweight division is as exciting without Deontay Wilder in it. But come Saturday night, we'll see. Will I prevail? Who knows? But on Saturday night, it's the true answer, and we're going to see. This could be the end of the career. This could be the final goodbyes. This could be the farewell of Deontay Wilder if I lose. If I win, of course, I go on to bigger and better things." Now, a win for one of them can literally lead to an opportunity to get back into that heavyweight title bout contention. A loss for them both, Wilder is 38, Zhang is 41. It could literally mean the end, as they both have tasted defeat recently and they haven't looked like themselves. Now, Voice, I mean, we've heard this type of talk from Deontay Wilder in the past, and he's still come out victorious. what are you making of his comments here recently? And I mean, how should we look at this of him going into this fight, possibly looking at it as a swan song?
He should be looking at it this way. Now, you spoke about how he spoke recently. Most recently, his statements have been the same. He's like, I'm focused. I'm with people who are supporting me, who will let me be me. You know, if I want to talk about catching a body, I'll talk about catching a body. And they're letting me say that. Whereas he felt a little restrained when, at least towards the last days, and he's taking veiled shots at PBC when he's saying this. Now, he can say all the crazy stuff he wants to with Matchroom, primarily because it's a one-fight contract. He's not signed long-term with Matchroom. So for him, it's really a do or die situation. If he does not, and Frank Warren says this, and Frank Warren is on the Queensberry side, but he continues to say, and I think he's doing it to plant seeds of doubt in Wilder's head so that his fighter will be victorious. But he keeps saying this is it for Wilder, but then he says the same thing for Zhang as well, that if either one of these fighters is not successful in this bout, like that's it for them, which I agree, because they both look bad in the last fights. That both put over Joseph Parker, you know, has put him up there. We have another, or I should say more heavyweights out there that are making strides and doing things. We know that Jared Anderson was meeting with Turkey not too long ago. So, you know, this could be the end for them when it comes to major fights and making major money. Though I think they both, speaking of Jared Anderson, I think they both could get one more decent payday with a matchup with him. But as far as being in title contention and being amongst the top, this is it. If they can't win this fight, then they're relegated to propping up other fighters.
Okay. Now the next question, it could be easy to ask Voice who needs this one more, but I'm not going to ask that. I'm going to ask you this question. Deontay Wilder still has a little left in the tank, but his mindset has kind of been there for like the last 5-6 fights. I feel like something in those Tyson Fury fights, so the last 4 fights, those Tyson Fury fights feel like they took a lot out of him mentally.
They did. Right? They took a lot out of him mentally and physically. They took some of his life and took some of who he was. He left a piece of himself in the ring in those fights. But his last fight, when he fought against Joe Parker, he was so muted and reserved, and you know, oh hi, you know, I'm the nice guy. I'm picking dandelions and planting bee nests. Like, you can't even plant a bee nest. But anyway, and there's no, it's not a nest, it's a hive. But anyway, he was talking all kind of bee nest. Right, exactly. That's how he was talking. But he's like, look, all that's over. The old Deontay is back. I'm trying to bring the ruckus. I have the fire again, because he admittedly had lost the fire, and that's been a talking point of his throughout the build up to this fight.
So my question to you is this: a win by either one of them. Who has the ability to take the bigger advantage of catapulting themselves back to the top with a win?
I would think Zhang, because though Zhang did not look good in his fight against Joe Parker, he was on that upward trajectory just before that happened. You know, like they were talking about him fighting AJ. For Wilder, it was like, okay, if you can beat Parker, then maybe, you know, we'll set something up with AJ. But they were already talking about that. They were already talking about him being in the mix for whatever belt they were going to strip. The IBF, I believe, is what they're going to strip Usyk of soon and very soon. But he was in the mix regarding all that. Then he took a giant step back with his inactivity in the ring.
That's understandable. Well, make sure you all tune in. That's going to be a great bout. Hopefully, I mean, I don't want to see Deontay Wilder go out in this way. Hopefully, it's a great bout between the two of them. It's two heavyweights who literally slug and punch. Now, while Zhang has literally tasted 2 defeats of his record, he's never been knocked out. But he comes in with major KO power. 21 of his 26 wins have come by KO. So Deontay has an uphill battle to this day.
Yeah, just real quick. Another talking point that they've had has been Chinese power versus Alabama power. And when those two powers collide, sparks will fly.
There you go. Make sure that you tune into that. Make sure you follow Voice on Twitter. I know he's going to have a spicy takes on that. He's going to be scoring about also. So make sure you follow him on that. Now, Voice, UFC 302. If lead-ups and trash talks has been any indication, the UFC 302 main event is scheduled to be full of fireworks, brutal punches, and an ounce of respect. Now, this is going to happen when the UFC Lightweight Championship is on the line when Islam Makhachev takes on former interim champion Dustin Poirier for the UFC Lightweight Championship. Now, if it hasn't been made any clearer, while Makhachev respects the older Poirier, he is more than confident, Voice, that he will come out the winner when they face off in the Prudential Center in New Jersey. He recently stated he doesn't believe he can beat me. His coach doesn't believe he can beat me. And I know that I can make this fight easy. I will finish him because I'm on a different level. I'm the best fighter in the world right now. Now, if you think about it, Voice, Islam may be a little bit more confident than usual due to the fact that his mentor Khabib is actually in his corner and has previously faced off Poirier and come out victorious. So clearly there's a blueprint there. Now he stated honestly, he went in and he said, honestly, my style is the worst style for him. He can beat some strikers. He's one of the best strikers in the game, but we're not strikers. We're MMA fighters. My skills are on a different level. But for Poirier, Voice, this is the opportunity for one of the UFC's greatest to finally hold that elusive lightweight championship. Now, twice in the past 5 years, Poirier has come up short when challenging for the titles. And after his BMF title loss that we actually talked about here to Justin Gaethje, it looked like Dustin was on his way out. However, don't get it twisted, because Dustin is a legend. He has a Hall of Fame career worthy of group of names under his belt, from McGregor to Holloway to Pettis to Gaethje. But he has spoken more recently, Voice, of laying down the gloves and retiring. However, he recently stated during the media rounds, he hears the chatter and he knows what's actually going on. He said, I can definitely win the fight. If I touch his chin, he'll go down, and he'll find that out on Saturday. Maybe that's something that he doesn't need to believe. Maybe he needs to be positive and be confident walking into this, which he should be. But if you don't think I have a chance to win, you're lying to yourself. It's in my hands. I'm the only guy who has the opportunity to make this happen, or whatever decisions I make under those lights on Saturday. I'm the guy on the driver's seat. I steer where this is clear. I steer where this goes, and knowing that I have that power and believing in my skills, I don't care about all that noise. Now, Islam later replied, while he was convinced that he is going to come out victorious, he does have major respect for Poirier. He said, I think he's one of the biggest names in the sport. That's why I respect him. I respect him because he has a lot of crazy fights in this sport. I'm just happy to beat someone who has a big name like Dustin. For the legacy, it's going to be maybe the biggest name on my list. Voice, he's already putting him on the hit list. I see you sipping, so I know you got something spicy to say. Voice, what are your thoughts on the outlooks between these two fighters?
I think they both have very sober and realistic outlooks on the fight. Realistically, Islam should walk through Poirier. If you just look at how dominant Islam has been, minus a fight or two, specifically the one where he got knocked out. Outside of that, he has been killing everyone. You talked about how Islam has been speaking. He has said, hey, yeah, this is the biggest fight in my life. I'm so glad to have this and not another rematch. Dustin is definitely the biggest name that's out there, and I don't think he's changed since he fought Khabib. whereas I've been growing the whole time. So I think he's gonna get whooped. So he has been speaking as confidently as he has been fighting as of late. The question though with this, outside of his fight with Charles Oliveira, he hasn't faced a lightweight. And he's got a real lightweight and a big one who could be fighting at welterweight easy. Someone who was campaigning for a 160-pound title in the UFC at one point. So that's going to make things a little different. As I was watching a breakdown for the fight and some of the things that Islam does really well, specifically his head kick knockout of Volkanovski in his last outing, I was thinking about this matchup. Volkanovski is 5'6", Poirier is 5'10". So, you know, it's you got to kick a little higher to get up to his head. Although Poirier's last loss was a head kick knockout by Gagey. So, you know, just kind of wondering how Makhachev may approach this. Whereas for Poirier, you know, he said, and rightfully so, if I don't win, this is it. I'm not getting ready to fight my way back up to title contention again. This will be his third chance at Undisputed. You know, he was the interim champion. He carried that belt and carried it until Khabib came and said, "Nah, dog, you just a little placeholder. I was the champion. You had the interim championship because I was dealing with some things. Now give me my belt." And he took it and took it cleanly. So this is really it for him. You think about it, him being in the Fightville documentary that was, you know, well over a decade ago, and saying, "I want to be a UFC champion." Now he's held the interim title, but he's never held the full title. He couldn't even get the BMF title in his last shot out. Will this be the time? It's either 3 strikes you're out, or third time's a charm. Islam is saying no, it's not going to be a charm. But as Dustin said, anything can happen, and we know. And Islam has even said, yeah, his thing is being on the feet. And he's probably going to put a guillotine in. I'm practicing for that too. But this is mixed martial arts. This isn't just boxing. This isn't just striking. This is mixed martial arts. And where you've lost most recently, or where you seemingly have cracked under pressure, is when people are putting that pressure on you and getting you to the ground. So that's what we expect Islam to do. And when he's done that with others, it's not been nice, not for the opponents. It's been a quick night for Islam.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be a fire bout. So, Voice, my question is, let's say Poirier pulls out the victory.
Mm-hmm.
Does he retire on top, or do you see him going on to fight maybe a couple more bouts?
I think he would probably fight again just to, number one, with professional athletes, the ability to make that kind of payday for one night is few and far between. So if you can make another big payday, and you're the champion and you're getting pay-per-view points, then yeah, let's do that. And more than likely, it will be another rematch, or I should say be an immediate rematch with Islam. You know, so let me try to beat the person that I beat before. And if I don't, then I'll ride off into the sunset, you know, a couple commas richer.
There you go. But it's definitely going to be a great fight. Now, this is going to be Islam's first fight since his October 2023. Can't talk today. Since his October 2023 win over Alexander Volkanovski, he has not tasted defeat since October 3rd, 2015. That was at UFC 192 against Adriano Martins, I believe. So that's definitely going to be something to look forward to. It's a great stack card. That's going to be UFC 302. Make sure you are following The Voice so that you are prepared for everything that he has to offer, and so that you can follow up with us the following week on main card if you have any questions. Now, we have The Voice's marquee matchup. Voice, tell us why this heavyweight bout is your Voices marquee matchup this week.
Well, it is the Voices marquee matchup because, let me pause so we can get that music going, that Voices marquee matchup music going. This is the Voices marquee matchup because in this bout between Hrgović and Dubois, you have quite possibly the next title challenger. We talked a little earlier in the fight about how Usyk will be stripped of the IBF title soon and very soon. It's highly probable that the winner of this bout will face Anthony Joshua for said title. Now, for Hrgović, he's 17-0 with 14 knockouts, and he has history with Dubois. They sparred many years ago, almost 10 years ago. They sparred each other, and Hrgović was like, he's too slow. I see everything he's doing before he does it. I know him, and I'm going to beat him again. Is it going to be different from sparring? I'm sure, because sparring and fighting are two different things. But we've seen, especially recently, with Deontay Wilder and Helenius, when you fight somebody you spar with, and you get the better of them in sparring, it's likely that that's going to happen the same way in the ring. Same thing with AJ when he fought Valim, because they sparred together too. Dispatched of him fairly quickly as well. Now, one thing that was really interesting to me about all of that was Dubois was like, man, I was 17 years old. You had on little gloves and you put me in big gloves. It's like, yeah, dirty. I don't like you. And, I'm going to beat you. So it's a lot of animosity there between them. And Hrgović has had nothing good to say about Dubois at all. I mean, just everything is like, dude, you're done. I'm going to kill you. I don't even know why you're stepping into the ring to fight. You're already lost. You should just, do like old boy with F.A. Ajagba when the bell rings, just get out the ring because that'll be better for your health. So, Hrgović is talking real greasy, which is good because you should have confidence. Is he overconfident though? Dubois had a much better outing the last time, stopping Jarrell Miller, a feat that you really don't see happening more often than not because of all the drugs that Jarrell Miller is on. But that's a story for a different day. He stopped Jarrell Miller. He kind of reinserted himself into the equation after the loss to Usyk, who many people say no, he should have won because he hit him with that body shot. It was legal, and Usyk would have been counted out as long as he was down. Usyk wouldn't have stayed down all that time if it had been a legal shot. But anyway, again, that's a story for another day. Dubois is talking like, I want the smoke, and he's going to bring everything. Does he have enough to beat the Czech, who's undefeated? Maybe he and that's actually something that Hrgović said. He was like, yeah, so you look good against Jarrell Miller. That's Jarrell Miller. It's like, who does he ever look good against? So, like I said, Hrgović has had nothing good or complimentary to say about Dubois. Yeah.
That's
okay. So Darian, you think he's coming in overconfident? He might be, or he might just be telling the truth. We'll find out when they step between the ropes in the square circle and face off on fight night.
That's awesome. Now I'm going with Darian. Darian ain't been wrong all day. I'm going with him. I believe that overconfidence a lot of times can cost you. He was 17, man. There's a grown man now. You know what I'm saying? I got cousins I fought who was older than me, and I knocked them out now too. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't 17 no more, and I want to smoke. So shout out to them. That's going to be an amazing fight. Make sure you all are following us on Twitter or X or whatever you call it, so you can get all the spicy takes, all the updates. This is the main card. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Voice, I know you have some additional fights to get prepared for the Combat Sports Weekend. Tell us what else we should be looking forward to.
Well, there are lots of fights now. first and foremost, let's keep talking a little bit about that 5 versus 5, because that is such an exciting concept. I'm really looking forward to that bout, because not only do you have Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing versus Frank Warren and Queensberry Promotions, but you also have a point structure set up. So the captain of each team, if they were to win, they get double points. Wilder is the captain of the Matchroom team, and I forget the name of the captain for Queensberry, but it's not in the main event. It's not Zhang. So they both have an opportunity to gain more points, and they're looking for bragging rights. Thanks, Mom. We're still waiting on as soon as the merch gets back up and running right. I got you. But you got a lot of fights. Raymond Ford being on this card is someone to look out for. And what's really interesting about all of this, with this 5 versus 5, of the 5 fighters that Eddie Hearn selected, only one of them was from the UK, where the vast majority of the Queensberry fighters are from the UK. So it's a lot of moving pieces there. But then also you have the co-main event for UFC 302, which pits former champion Sean Strickland against Paulo the Eraser Costa. This fight should be fireworks. If I'm not mistaken, there was a time that Costa was training for a fight, and he and Strickland got into it at the PI. It was either him, or I may be confusing him with Kevin Holland. I know Costa got into it with somebody at the PI, and I feel like it was Strickland. Either way it goes, Strickland always brings it. He has become the real life embodiment of Stone Cold Steve Austin, just being a good old boy who's down to kick behinds and drink beer. So he's looking to do that to Paulo Costa. The winner of this bout will be in the running to fight the winner of Izzy and Duplessis for the title. For Strickland, could be a rematch. For Costa, it could be a rematch, depending on who wins the fight. So it's going to be interesting to see how all of that works out. But that fight, which the part about it that really intrigues me, is that's a 5-round fight, which you don't normally get 5-round non-headlining bouts, but this one is 5 rounds, which to me that gives the advantage to Strickland because he does have an excellent gas tank. It could also just give Costa more time to catch him though, so that's another fight to be looking out for.
Awesome. Thank you for that, voice. We have prepared you week in and week out for the greatness in combat sports. It's what we do here at the main card every week. MTMV Sports, we're a family. This is what we do. Every sport that you're wanting to see, people always ask, do we cover football? Yes, we cover football. You have a great football show. You have basketball shows.
I'm pretty spectacular football show. Yeah.
I was about to mention all of them, voice, but it's fine.
It seems like you're struggling with it. I'm sorry.
I wasn't struggling, boss. I was trying to do my spiel and get it out.
I'm gonna shut up. Let me be quiet. I'm gonna mute myself.
Shout out to Pretty Girl Love Sports. Shout out to Not the Same Podcast. Shout out to the Full 94. Shout out to the V Report. Shout out to all the amazing shows that we have here. HBC. Shout out to our just all of our hosts. I don't want to name all of our hosts because then I'm gonna flub them and then I'm gonna miss somebody and they're gonna be in the group me talking about some Will, you don't love me, and that's not the case. Yeah, he is. He's a fan. He's a fan. He's gonna say he's not, but
I'm knowledgeable. I'm not a fan.
He's a fan. Make sure that you follow us on all of your favorite social media platforms. I can't speak today. Also, if you can't see these beautiful faces and this moisturized Wakandan water skin, you can also follow us on your favorite podcast network. So whatever podcast network, go ahead and find MTMV Sports. Click that subscribe, and you'll be notified of all of our new episodes when they come up. I am Wildress Ruffin. You can follow me, Mr. Teddy Farrell, on all platforms. I don't get my life together. This is The Voice. You can follow The Voice also on all platforms. Thank you all for tuning in with us. Voice, take us out.
Until next time, fight the good fight.